Welcome back, Facebook. My name is Chef Michael Ray. Today I'm going to be preparing for you a chicken Alfredo with some garlic bread. So what I've done is I've taken the time to cook my pasta. As you can see, my pasta is cooked here. And basically what I have is I have a quinoa pasta. So the key to making pasta is basically letting your water boil first, I would say for about 15 minutes. Once the water is nice and boiled, what you want to do is you want to stick your pasta in there, cover it, I would say anywhere from 13 to 17 minutes. Once you feel that it's done, a lot of people like to cook theirs al dente, which meaning a little al dente, meaning a little bit hard, because it's going to continue to cook. So the main thing is, once you know that it's cooked, get it under some cold water. Some people use ice bath. Get it to stop cooking. That way your pasta doesn't continue to cook. So now what I've done is my pasta has stopped cooking, but it's still warm. In my second pan, what I've done is I basically have taken and I have sauteed some chicken. If you can see in the pan, here's some chicken in here. And basically what I've done is I usually myself, I'll buy the whole chicken and then I can cut it myself. You usually save money like that. I buy air chilled chicken, which is basically once it's been fractured or slaughtered, it's cooled down with cold air. Most chickens are, once they're slaughtered, they're in an ice bath, but therefore what happens is the water gets to be absorbed by the muscles, so then a lot of your chicken contains more water than its natural, just regular meat. So what I've done is I've cooked my chicken. What I do is I get a saute pan. I don't add anything to it. A little bit of salt. I cover it about 20 minutes. All the water, the juice will come out of the chicken. I take the cap off maybe 23 minutes later, and that water will turn into an oil, which is a natural oil. That's going to be a healthy oil. So what I'm going to do now is I have my pasta cooked, I have my chicken cooked. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the steps of making a simple but amazing Alfredo sauce. And basically Alfredo sauce has been around for, you know, thousands and hundreds of years. That was one of, I believe, Escoffier. Escoffier is one of the culinary giants when it comes to French cooking. Alfredo would be considered a French dish, kind of. I think we've come to Americanize it, but basically all it is, it's heavy cream or half and half, Parmesan, a little bit of parsley or basil, and that's basically it. The key to making a good Alfredo is basically going to be to keep constantly stirring and whipping it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add probably, I would say maybe 2 cups of heavy cream. So all I'm going to do is put the heavy cream in the saute pan, let that come up to a boil, and then just constantly stir it. So I've got about 2 cups in here. I don't need to season it because the Parmesan cheese that I've got contains a lot of salt. So therefore, you have to be very careful. I did season my chicken. That's important. This way you can taste the chicken without any sauce, and it should be amazing on its own. The thing is, this is what you're doing is you're bringing 3 things together, but everything should stand alone. Therefore, meaning the pasta should taste great, the sauce should taste great, and the chicken should taste great. Most of the seasoning has gone into the chicken, which I use a special secret marinade, which is called Santa Maria, which contains garlic, onion, everything that you need to basically for your meats or for your chicken, especially if you're going camping. It's a one and all seasoning. You have to be very careful when it comes to different seasonings because a lot of them contain flour, which is gluten. A lot of people are gluten free. So what they do is they use flour as a binder to kind of bring everything together. So basically what I've got here is I've got my heavy cream, and I'm just going to constantly keep stirring it. I'm going to, since I don't have a cameraman, my camera is not going to be my pictures aren't going to be the best, but the main thing is to get you to learn how to cook. That's the main thing. So I've added 2 cups of cream, and I'm just going to keep stirring. And what you want you to do is you want this to bring this to a boil. So I'm stirring and I'm stirring. And I've got about 1.5 cups. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more. So this is 1 pint. You could probably, I would probably, for a family of 6 to 8, I would go with a whole pint. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, since I'm there, I'm just going to go ahead and use the whole pint. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to stir. I want this to bring this up to a boil. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of butter. I have some organic butter. Everything you see is all natural. This is quinoa. This is gluten-free. I have organic meat. Everything you see is organic and all natural. I don't believe in putting chemicals in my body. There's something like 563 chemicals put in our food daily, not to mention what's in the dirt or, you know, what they're spraying on the outside. So I'm going to put about, maybe, I would say, a tablespoon of butter, which is a small little slice. And that's just to give me kind of some color, but it's also going to bring the sauces together. A lot of times when you do sauces, you need something to bring it together, and that's where our seasoning comes in. So what I'm doing is I'm letting this, I have this on high. Anytime that you're working with milk, you've got to be right where the stove's at, because you don't want it to burn, because there's nothing worse than once you get that burn smell, that's going to be what you're going to taste. Okay? So basically I'm stirring it. Also, while I'm doing this, what I do is I make my own garlic oil, which, if you can look at it here, all it is I take a half a cup of EVO, which is extra olive oil, and I put maybe 6 to 8 unpeeled garlic. And what that does is I just leave it out, and it gives you just an amazing garlic oil, which you can use on anything. You can fry fish in it. You can use it for anything. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own garlic bread. So what I've done is I've melted 1/4 cube of butter with a little bit of garlic oil. And what you do is, this is what's called clarified. When you bring your butter to a boil, what you do is you skim the top, like in here. There's a little foam. What you're going to do is you're going to skim that, because that's going to be the imperfections or the impurities, which once you do this, your butter will no longer burn. Because if you notice that when you make an egg, if you put butter and it burns, it burns. Once you clarify, and clarify means melting your butter and taking off the foam on top, then you can continue to use that butter without it burning. Because what you've done is you've just taken away all the impurities, and therefore your butter will no longer burn. And that's called clarifying your butter. So my cream is coming to a thing. So what I've done with this is I've got my butter and my garlic. I'm going to take a little bit of paprika. And paprika has been around for hundreds of years. And that's just going to give me a little bit of color. And most of the times when you see garlic bread anywhere, it does have a little bit of redness to it. You can also use minced garlic. A lot of people like to get their garlic, chop it up, and they want that full effect on the bread. Okay, so now what I've done is my thing has come to a boil, as you can see. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my Parmesan. So I would say probably to start with maybe 1/4 cup. And just bring it in there, pour it in, and just continue to stir. And that's going to slowly but surely thicken up. You want it to keep it, and you want to lower it a little bit. So now in the process of doing this, I'm going to take my little bit of butter and garlic, and I'm just going to spread it on my bread. If you can see, we'll kind of bring the camera a little bit closer, or my laptop. Hopefully you're getting most of this. And all I'm going to do is, just like painting a fence, you've got it there, a little bit of color. And then I'm going to stick this in my toaster oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. I don't use a microwave. Got rid of it maybe 7 years ago. I believe that it takes away all the vitamins, and what you have is you have empty calories, and that's your body's looking for vitamins and it can't find it because it's been microwaved away. So we've done that. We've spread our butter on our bread, which I have wheat bread. The most unhealthy flour that you can have is white processed bleached flour, because what it is that it's been, you know, there are 3 parts to a wheat, and it's been basically stripped of all the good vitamins. So then all I'm going to basically do is I'm going to stick this in my toaster oven for maybe, let's put a time limit of 12 minutes at maybe 325, and my camera is off. Okay, there we go. Sorry folks, we're back. So all I've done is I put in my garlic bread in the oven. Now what I'm doing is I'm making my Alfredo, still stirring away. A little bit of flavor. I'm getting there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rest of this cheese, which is probably about 2 cups of Parmesan cheese. You can get it shredded. This is Remargiano, I believe, which is some of the best Parmesan. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Where's my pepper? I love my spices. I'm a spice freak. Gotta have them on everything I cook. That's the difference between culture food. Is just basically spices and herbs. That's all it is. And the more you cook, the more you learn that different herbs go with different foods. Mexicans are really they use a lot of celery. I mean, a lot of cilantro. They use a lot of jalapenos. They use a lot of cumin. Different cultures, Indians use a lot of curry. You know, Chinese, Japanese use a lot of soy. Also a lot of cilantro, carrots. It's just different type of flavoring. So now, if you look at my marinara, it's a little, I mean my Alfredo, it's gotten to be a little bit thicker. I'll get a spoon so that I can show you kind of the thickness of it. And it's a lot thicker now than it was with heavy cream. And you can actually see the cheese in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this camera and I'm going to bring it. So I want you to be able to see what it looks like. And it's just basically, and there's my chicken back there. If you can see my chicken, I've got my pasta in here warming. If you can see the pasta. And this is my Alfredo. And so basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep whipping it, stirring it, folding it. And I can taste it. I believe I'm there. So what I want to do is I just want to break up the cheese a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and stir it. And that's basically going to be your chicken Alfredo. So really all it is heavy cream. I would say a pint of heavy cream, maybe 2 or 1.5 cups of parm. You bring the Alfredo to a boil, the cream to a boil. You add your Alfredo, a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt, very little salt because your Parmesan has plenty of salt. And you just keep stirring. And if it gets too thick, you can always add a little bit of milk or a little bit of cream, depending on how many people you're serving. But basically that's going to be it. And then I'm going to do is my garlic bread is cooking away in my toaster oven, as you can kind of see it in there. And that'll be done in a few. And then this is my Alfredo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close the video. And then what I do is I will take a picture of everything. So all you do is after this is you're going to basically bring them all together. It's just like doing a spaghetti sauce. What you're going to do is you're going to bring everything together. What I like to do is I like to bring the chicken in first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chicken and I'm just going to bring it in the Alfredo. Just as simple as that. Because what I want to do is I want the Alfredo sauce to get some of the flavor from the chicken, because the chicken is where all the seasoning is. Basically the heavy cream, all you have is heavy cream and Alfredo, so you're not really getting an amazing flavor. You're getting a good sauce, but once you combine the chicken, then you're going to have the thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of milk to mine. Okay, so now I've got the heavy cream and the milk, and all that's going to do is that's going to break it down a little bit more, because I have a lot of I have a lot of parm in there. So I have my chicken Alfredo, and I'm just going to make sure that this is on, which I'm really good at turning things off and on. So, and then after, all I'm going to do is take my pasta, add my pasta. My pasta is a little bit undercooked because you don't want to ever overcook it, because what's going to happen is when you continue to warm it, it's going to continue the cooking process. Okay, so all I want to do is I want to bring this up back to a heat, and I'm going to mix the pasta in there. And let me go ahead and try it and tell you what I think. Delish. And then I've got my basil and my Parmesan mixed together. So I'm going to bring a little bit of that in, which will give me, basil is always going to give you a little bit of an Italian, but it's also going to give you a little bit more flavor. And it's always nice to use parsley, cilantro. I like to use a lot of cilantro, parsley, just different times, rosemary. Different herbs are going to do different things. And so there I am with my Alfredo, which looks really good, tastes amazing. I'm going to check on my garlic bread, and this is what my garlic bread looks like. And I could probably throw a little bit more red in there, just so that people can say, hey, that's garlic bread. And what I'm going to do is just sprinkle a little red. And so what I want to do is basically I want to be able to cook things once a week. I want to do is put the menu up on a Monday or a Saturday. This way people can shop, and then we can all kind of cook together at the same time. That way, you know, if you feel like you're stuck, well, we can do it together. Okay. So there I have my chicken Alfredo. I want to show you what that looks like by removing my camera again. It's going to be all full of food by the end of the night. So there you go. I don't know if you can get a good view, but that's kind of what it looks like. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring all that together. And by bringing it together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I have my pasta here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to pour this into my soup pan. And that's a lot of Alfredo. And what I tend to do is I tend to try to clean as I cook. It doesn't always work like that, but it's, you know, it's good in theory. This way I don't have a big old mess. Add a little bit more cream in there. Okay, we bring this up to kind of a boil. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my plate, which, nice job. I'm also very clumsy in the kitchen, so if I ever teach you to cook, make sure you bring your helmet, okay? Just kidding. Just, you know, I rode the yellow bus a couple times. I ain't afraid of it. Okay? So then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically plate up everything. Okay. And what I like to do is I like to cut my cherry tomatoes. I don't like them whole. I just want to be able to kind of get a little taste in every one. So what I do is I just take a knife and I just slice the cherry tomato. That's basically what I do. Okay, so I've got my salad, and I've got my marinara, my Alfredo cooking, which looks like it's going to be the bomb. Okay, here we go. I've got my bread. Let's pull my bread. It's about done. Let's hear the alarm. That tells me I'm there. So, and I've got my bread. My camera's off again. I've got my bread, which is great. I'll put one piece there. I'm going to okay, and then I'm going to get a, and this is something tricky to serve with. You can use a big spoon, you can use some tongs. I prefer to use a big spoon, which I don't have one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tongs, and then I'm just basically going to grab it and set it on my plate. And all you really need with this is maybe some chicken Alfredo, some garlic bread, a little bit of parsley and basil, and I would say that we're about done here. So like I said before, my name is Chef Michael Ray. Thank you for watching. The videos will get a little bit better as time goes on, so bear with me. And I want to show you the complete dinner. It's a chicken Alfredo, it's a green salad, and basically it's a green salad and a chicken Alfredo, and that's what we got. So you have a great day. God bless you. Grace before meals. I'm going to grab me something to drink, and I'm going to try the food. And like I said before, grace before meals. Ciao.